Hello, everybody. I'm live out of Bakersfield, California, where it's a beautiful, balmy 83 degrees today. Um, so if you're listening, if you're watching on YouTube, you're probably watching live, I hope, and get in here and feel free to post some comments. I'll do my best to answer all your comments as best I can. Um, so we're going to talk a little bit about this new flex schedule for Iowa and the Big Ten football. We'll talk a little bit about what it is and what I think about it. And after I show you the games that I was playing and what I think about that, and how excited am I? I'm excited for one game on that schedule, and I'll tell you why when we get there. Okay, but first, hey guys. So first of all, I had a birthday this week, and this has turned out to be my all-time favorite card. See if I can get it up there. See if you can read it. Okay. Notice the guy getting out of the car. He says every time he gets in and out of the car, he hears creaks and stuff like that, creaks and cracks or something. And the uh, repairman says, "That's not your car. That's your knees." That's what I feel like about me, guys. My knees. I'm on my 10th week of recovery. Um, Now 2.5 months into my recovery, my full knee replacement, and um, just about 6.5 or 5.5 months into my scope on my other knee, which turned out to be good. So I had a roadblock this morning on my knee, a little personal thing. I had to follow up with my orthopedic surgeon who did the knee placement to check it all out and everything, make sure I'm progressing, which I am, guys. Everything is progressing just fine. But that's another update for another day. But what caught me is I had to walk up 2 flights of stairs today with a cane because their elevator was out of order. So I made it up. It was hard, slow, and painful, but I made it up. And it was a little scary coming down because I felt like I was going to fall. I was still dragging the cane with me, guys. I had that cane dragging down. So, although the couple ladies behind me said they thought my form coming down the stairs with the cane looked good. So, that's where we're at. We're progressing. Okay, now let's get to the real reason why we're here. And I don't want to keep you guys bored on my other stuff. Oh, yeah, I want to show you one other thing, too. Look what I got for my birthday. Yeah, my wife's taking care of me. We're gonna put it in a black frame because it's gonna go on a black wall. Um, that I got. Not a black wall, but a white wall. So it's gonna put in a black frame to help this stand out more. Because if we put it straight up against the white wall, it will wash out. And so, yeah. Okay, so keep moving forward. Okay, the flex schedule comes out today. So, as you guys know, and I mean, some of this stuff I'm telling you guys isn't old news to you. I mean, it's old news to you now. I mean, because it's there are other podcasters that jumped up on it. You all probably watch BTN, and there's all kinds of stuff on the internet posted already. So, um, so the divisions are gone, and so now it's just going to be 16 teams, 1 through 16, and the top two will play for the who wins the um, Big Ten title. Okay, the top two. More than likely, I would say that in the running for next year would probably be Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State, USC. Those would probably be the 4 teams that I would have that would be the top 4 teams in the league in the 2024. Unless something drastic happens. I almost feel like Ohio State's going to have a bit of a slip up this year, but we'll talk about that later in the summer when we do our predictions and stuff like that. But so let's get to um, the schedule for Iowa. Okay. Their non-conference games will be Illinois State, Iowa State, and Troy. Okay. So for their Big Ten games, they're going to play at home against Maryland, at home against Nebraska, at home against UCLA, and at home against Wisconsin. Guys, that's about as tough as home schedule as you want. You want uh, because Iowa State also, I believe, is at home. So God, that's just tough. I mean, God, I can't imagine a schedule going any tougher than that for home. There's no reason why every game shouldn't be sold out. Okay. They go on the road to Illinois, Minnesota, Ohio State, Rutgers, and USC. Guys, again, I'm thinking this is a really tough schedule. This might be the toughest schedule Iowa's had in years. Because you gotta look at it like Minnesota's on the verge. I mean, we're consistently have beaten them 7 or 8 years in a row now. I'm losing track because it's starting to build up. Minnesota. So, but you got to feel like one of these years Minnesota is going to step up and finally get their due, just like Nebraska finally stepped up and got their due this thing. Illinois is improving under Brett Bielema, and you guys know that they're going to be a force to be dealt with pretty soon. So, and by 2024 they should be all settled in and ready to go. Of course, Wisconsin is in Nebraska by next year should be all settled with their new coaches, and if there's any doubts about their being winning, they'll come next year. I think Wisconsin's being overhyped this year, and I think Nebraska is somewhat. I'm kind of on the iffy there, but we'll see how that goes. But I think both schools under their new coaches are going to thrive, and probably more so in year two. UCLA had a 9-4 record last year. They're at home, but they're still going to be tough. I mean, a 9-4 team, you still got to beat them. Okay. Maryland, they're always kind of middle of the road team, but they've always played in the East Division, right? Now, I didn't look at Maryland's schedule. I'll have to go in and look at Maryland's schedule. But now that they got some more chance to play some more formerly West teams, they might have a chance to build on their record a little bit. But their star QB should be gone by this year. Okay, so let's move over to 2025. Let's see if we can get here. We go. Okay, so now we play Michigan at home, Michigan State at home, Minnesota at home, Northwestern at home, and Penn State at home. Again, that's a pretty tough lineup. Again, like I was talking about Minnesota before, they're going to jump up and get their due pretty soon. They really are. Northwestern, I don't know where they're at with they had two really good teams and won 2 Division West titles 1 year, and then took a year off and came back and won it the next year. So I'm not sure where they're at with where they're going to be at. I mean, they seem to be the most Jekyll and Hyde team there is right now in the Big Ten. And then we got Penn State at home, Michigan State at home, Michigan at home. So that's another home tough schedule at home. Okay, we go on the road at Indiana, Nebraska, Purdue, Wisconsin in 2025. Okay, again, we're going to play at Wisconsin. By 2025, Wisconsin should be fully up and running. Most of this guy's recruits will be juniors by that time, and so they'll be starting to take over the program. Purdue, I don't know much about this coach. If this coach is going to be able to come in and win right away or not, I'm on the fence with Purdue. I don't know where they're at. And Nebraska, I mean, like again, that'll be third full year under their new coach, and again, their recruits. Well, they got a lot of transfer portal people this year, so the transfer portal people will probably be gone, and they're going to have to depend on their recruit unless they just keep going transfer portal. Indiana's Indiana. You don't know what you're going to get with Indiana. Usually not good. Okay. So let's go back. I'm kind of curious about what Maryland's schedule looks like. I have that in here somewhere. Let me go find it. So Maryland. I want to thank Jason Hackwell. Coach Jason. Jason's not available right now to be on the show, and Paul, he had something else going on, so he couldn't really be a part of the show tonight. So Paul, we miss you. Jason, we miss you, but they both will be here later this summer. So you're stuck with me, guys. Yeah, Jason. Let's see. But Jason posted this earlier, and I'm going to see if I can actually get this read. So 2024 schedule for Maryland. Man, this is small. Jason, couldn't you do this any better? I can't get it to stay big. I can't read it. Okay. Maryland. Okay, Maryland plays Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Michigan, Michigan State, Purdue, Rutgers, USC, and Wisconsin. So I think their toughest games would be Michigan State, Wisconsin, USC, who I think will be a top four team in the Big Ten, um, and Michigan. Iowa, Iowa should still be pretty good. I mean, we're going to be pretty rocking this year, and I think we should still be a contender next year. Um, and so I'm just curious. I'm not really worried about what they play in 2025, but they play a schedule that I think can get them to a bowl season, get them 7 wins. I think they got 7 wins in there if you include their non-schedule, so their non-conference schedule. But I'll tell you the one game I am excited about for next year is USC. Iowa going to USC in Los Angeles. Yes, that's kind of probably be the next to Ohio State on our schedule next year. That will probably be our one of our toughest games. And I believe um, I think Ohio State comes to us, and I think we go on the road to USC. But I want to go see that game, guys. I'm only about 90 minutes to 2 hours, depending on traffic, from the LA Coliseum where USC plays their home games. Okay. I don't like to drive on LA freeways, so I've bribed my brother-in-law and a friend of mine, AJ. AJ, if you're out there, show yourself. Um, he's a USC fan, so I told him I would buy us tickets to the Iowa USC game if he drove, and so the only stipulation is we got to sit with all the Hawkeyes, and I'm going to buy the tickets. So I don't know how I'm going to have to try to buy them through the Iowa website when the time comes. And we don't even know when that game's going to be played yet. Just keep in mind that this is only the games that we're going to be scheduled to play. None of these games, except for the non-conference games, have scheduled dates yet. So it's going to be interesting to see where some of these games fall later on. All right. But I don't know. What do you guys think of the flex schedule? Do you guys think it's going to be a good thing? I noticed that it's going to make it a lot tougher in the long run. Um, let's see. Yeah. I'm just looking at some of the comments from my website earlier today when I said I thought this was a killer schedule for Iowa. You know, but we keep going back to, we're just comparing Iowa. A lot of these guys are just comparing Iowa the last 5 years or so, or 7 years to, the elite teams, to the Alabama, Georgias, Clemson's, Ohio States, comparing them. I think that's a good. I mean, it's nice to see that we're there, but this is a totally different schedule, guys. I don't know that Iowa's ever played a schedule this tough in one season. Usually you play Michigan and Ohio State in one season. That's your tough schedule because you still got to play the West teams that can, and any of those West teams can rise up and beat you. You know, but usually in the past you only had two really really strong teams. I think I counted four strong teams on Iowa's schedule for next year. Um, so let's go back to that schedule. See if we can get that back. Okay. So yeah, UCLA, Wisconsin should be pretty decent. Nebraska should be decent. Oh, at Ohio State, at USC. Um, so I got one, two. Yeah, I've got four really strong teams with Nebraska and Minnesota as possible other strong teams. So no more give me in the Big Ten. No more hiding in the West and stuff. What are you guys' opinion? Do you think Iowa with that schedule next year? And I know we're looking way ahead because we haven't even played the 23 season yet. Do you think we will be able to? Okay, um, that we would be able to, let's say, top 4 team, and can we be a top 14 or a top 2 team in the Big Ten next year and put ourselves in the position, because don't forget that that's going to be the first year of the 12 team playoff too. I'm not even sure how that's going to work. I don't know if they're going to use all bowl games, or what they're going to use, and then maybe the semifinal and the finals will be non-bowl games, extras. And I believe the Rose Bowl this year figures into the Bowl Championship Series. Um, so so we'll see how that goes too. But what do you? I mean, honestly, guys. I mean, I got a couple of you online, and you don't be afraid to type out some responses here to me. There we go. I got one. Gary Barta's lost spite. I think I know who this is. He keeps changing names on me, but he's the same guy. He's used several different names. So this could be Phil Parker's paw. Are you? Yeah. Okay. Hang on, guys. I gotta take this. Hey, what's up? Not the last one. What's going on? Okay, are you gonna get on an early flight in the morning? Okay. So you get here about midnight again? I know we lost a whole day out of that. They must be broke down wherever it's coming from, huh? Well, that's crazy. Coming from Dallas, turn around, goes back to Dallas. Okay, all right. Well, hey, let me talk to you later. I'll text you later. I'm live on the internet right now. No, that's fine. I wanted to take your call because I knew it was important. Okay, bye. Sorry, guys. I kept him muted on your end so you guys couldn't hear him, but that's my grandson who was supposed to pick up at the Bakersfield airport at midnight tonight. Um, but they didn't have any. His flight's delayed. His flight wouldn't even take off for Dallas until an hour and a half after his connection was taken off for Bakersfield. Um, so I'm kind of I hate it. It's just like, can't these airlines get these things figured out? And we're gonna lose a whole day with him now, and we only had 4 days with him to begin with, so now we've got 3. So I mean, it's just crazy. So hopefully there's no delays tomorrow and he gets here. But yeah, so all right. Well, thank you, Gary Bartas. And now that I know who you were, I could tell by the name that you were who you were. But you said I think we should hit the portal even harder next year to get ready for 2024. Um, I thought for Iowa they hit the portal pretty hard this year. They're still looking for a DB cornerback. I think it's a cornerback specifically. Um, wasn't yeah, Terry Roberts. I mean, he's out there. He's available. Maybe if he apologizes to the Iowa staff, and maybe Iowa would forgive him and bring him back because he knows the system. Um, or do you just be mad at him and not kick him back? You know, I know that they offered another DB. I haven't heard how that's going or when he's going to take his official visit, but with the new young football players and the ones and the on transfer portal people who haven't already been on campus, they're all moving in this week. To get ready for summer workouts and summer classes. So I would think that if Iowa was going to get a DB, they better do it right now. They better do it this weekend so they can get this guy in there and get him enrolled and get him going on a summer workout plan for the fall, or he's going to be way behind, you know. So yeah, so that's where I'm at on that one. In case you guys didn't know, I guessed who Gary Barta's lost spine was, and he said bingo. So, any other comments you guys want? Any questions you want to talk about? I mean, let's throw it out there. Can Iowa be a top 2 team next year? You know, let's just say they hit the portal medium, just hit some needs that they're going to need next year, and let's just say they don't go real hard. They're going to have their tight end and quarterback back next year, unless they have such a great year that they can't, they have to go to the NFL. They can't resist going to the NFL, because it would just be foolish if they didn't, if they have a fantastic year. So let's talk about that, because like I said, it's kind of funny that we're talking about all this stuff, and we haven't even played the 2023 season. We don't even know how that's going to come out. Although I have a 10 to 12 win season predicted. Penn State's going to be tough to beat. They're going to be ranked in the top 10 this year. Some people have them higher than that. So they're going to come into the season ranked, and they're our first game of the season. They're the whiteout game. So that's going to be a tough game to win. And so, but if we could win that, I think we have a good shot at 12 wins. And, and I don't know. I think we stumble somewhere with, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Nebraska. I think we stumble with one of those 3 teams. But with our and the only reason why I say that is because 2 of those teams have a pretty good offense, and they could burn us. They could burn us, our DBs and cornerbacks really easy. The other team, Wisconsin, looks to me like they're getting ready to build a stronger offense than they have. Jared, I like your thoughts. 12-win season coming. God, wouldn't that be great? If we had 12-win season, would that be enough to put us in the top 2, or would we be? Or I mean, I guess not. We'd be the West Division champs. Forget that. I've already got us thinking. So can we win? Can we win the West this year? Which Jared says yes. And would we be we'd be playing Michigan or Ohio State for probably, or even Penn State again for the Big Ten title and maybe a shot, if they won it, to go to the playoffs. I doubt it, though. I doubt it. Iowa doesn't get that kind of respect from the voters and stuff. I mean, they got it the one year where all they had to do was beat Michigan State, and they were in the playoffs, and and Iowa, Michigan State both screwed up so bad. After that, Iowa got hammered and Michigan State got hammered. Michigan State in the playoffs and Iowa in their bowl game. So, yeah, both proved to be they weren't as good as we thought they were. And what's his name, who called Iowa the false ID of college football, was probably vilified at that point. It was probably vilified. Yeah, I think the offense is I'm looking forward to the offense. I think it can't be anything but better. I mean, you got a quarterback who will be able to find his receivers consistently. You got 2 great tight ends in there. And you can even use them, if you want to use the wide receivers or the running backs, you can even use them as extra blocking backs, and but I think the running game behind this O-line will be better. I can't help. I mean, even though the O-line, they were still learning last year, I can't help but think that they're going to be so much better, better this year, in their techniques. Plus, they're missing probably the weak link, the weakest link on there last year. Everybody knows it. I don't want to say names, but I guess I will, because everybody said it was Jack Plum, and I have to agree, because there was several games where he was blocking air while his player they should have been blocking ran right behind him and sacked our quarterback Spencer. And so, but yeah, top 50. Boy, that would be great if we could be a top 50 offense. When was the last time we were a top 50 offense, guys? And so Jason would be able to tell us if he's here. Jason, if you're watching, tell us because I know you. I know you know. And so, three of you going out there, guys. Let's get some more comments going. Let's talk about things here. Okay. Um, I probably said about as much as I can about the flex schedule and what Iowa's schedule is going to be and everything. And I know we're all excited about that. If you want to talk about the upcoming football season, um, I heard an interview today on a podcast with Trevor Locke. I think it's Locke. He's going to be. He's an old line person, but he said he in the interview that he can play any position on the old line, including center if he has to. You know, um, yeah. Gary, give us your thoughts. How about that? Give us your thoughts on this season next year and what we're going to do the following year. Okay, guys. Jason has. Let me get this up here. Yeah. Okay, we've been top 50 scoring, but not yards. Top 75, maybe yard wise. Okay, so that's where Jason thinks we're going to be this year, guys. He thinks that our scoring will be up there. I want to say if we can score around 31 points a game, um, yeah, I think we'll win most of our games. There might be one. There could be a slip up with the Penn State game because guys, they're predicted to be top 10 teams, so there could be a slip up there, and who knows? They might be good enough to upset Michigan and Ohio State. Okay. Yeah, I'm excited that USC and UCLA are coming are coming to the Big Ten. Like I said, I've already told all the people. I've sent text to everybody that wanted to that we're going to the USC game. I'm buying the tickets when they're available, and you guys are driving. Yeah, I don't like to drive in LA freeways, especially with only one eye. And so when I have to go there, I usually try to find somebody else to drive me through there. I used to drive through LA freeways with no issues and no problems, but now that I've got a singular eye, this one, no, this one, yeah, this one is the good one. Okay, all right. Jason agrees with me. He sees about 30 to 35 points a game this year. I have to agree with him. I think this is going to be a lot similar to, was it the 2020 team that scored 31 points a game? Or was it the 2019 team? One of those two teams. I think it was the 2019 team led by, or was it Spencer? Did Spencer or did Nate have the 31 point year? Okay. Gary Barta out doesn't really affect anything. Wait a minute. Okay. So Jason says Gary Barta out doesn't really affect anything. Beth is pretty much the same as far as sports are concerned. Okay, so I think what Jason's saying there, that Gary Barta was pretty conservative, hands-off person with the sports, and wouldn't stand up to Kirk, because I think Kirk really ran that program, the athletic department. And so I think what he's trying to say is Beth is pretty much going to be the same way, except she'll take care of the money better. They got speaking of that, the baseball team is getting ready to do some renovations. That's probably the last big hurrah for Gary Barta that he got put together. They're getting ready to do some renovations to Dwayne Banks Field, and on TV that field looks great. That looks great. I mean, they really need? I mean, what do they need in there? I mean, you guys that have been to the stadium, what do they need to really spruce that stadium up? Because on TV it looks so much better than it did years ago when I was there. I mean, do we need to spend that much money? Couldn't we use that money and put it toward, let's say, NIL? Okay. Iowa baseball with a heartbreaking loss against Indiana State. Yeah, Jared, I kind of saw that coming after the 13 innings, and didn't really think that I go. We really don't have any pitchers left. I mean, even if they come out smoking, which I think they did at the beginning, or not really. I think all the pitchers were struggling on both teams at the beginning, and it just seemed like we couldn't get anything going. And then it seemed like as the game went later on, much like the North Carolina and late in that game, even though we were able to win that game, but late in the North Carolina game, we gave up a lot of runs, but we also got a lot of runs back late to win that game. So, yeah, I kind of said in a group text that I didn't know if Iowa had fresh enough pitching after 13 innings and fresh enough ball players to even win that game. And really, until late in that game, I thought they had that game. I thought they were going to get it, and I thought this is cool. They're really going to get this game and come back and play on Monday for the title. But Indiana had other plans, and it is what it is. But Hawkeyes won. They got to the title game, and it was a hell of a season. They had a game tying 44 wins this year. Okay, Gary Barta, the greatest Hawkeye AD of all time? No, not even close. Who was before Bowlesby? I can't think of his name. He was the football coach. Even then, I don't think he was the greatest AD of all time. Dang, he was football coach, and he got mad because they wouldn't let him be both AD and football coach, so he chose AD. But you know what? He had many years of not hiring a winning football coach too. Remember, he became solely at AD in the 19 after the 1960 season, and that's when that Iowa had its last really good team, in the 70s and stuff, the 60s and 70s, and went on an awful non-winning streak of 19 or 20 years. So that's just funny. I go, so maybe he wasn't a great AD. So maybe Bowlesby was a better AD, but I don't know. I have to go back and look and see who hired these guys. Lute Olson was a hire probably by the guy I'm talking about. I don't think Bowlesby hired him. Um, but did Bowlesby hire Tom Davis? I don't know. Guys, help me out here because I know you guys know all this stuff. I'm coming off the top. Okay, let's see. Let's go going back to football. However, if Kirk wants to win 11 this year, he would have to have a 60% winning percentage, which is what he's shooting for and will be the all-time winning Big Ten coach. This could be Kirk's last year. Um, it depends. It depends on how their season goes. I think if they got 12 wins and won the Big Ten title game, I think you could be right. He'll go out on top. I've heard that he can't be in the Hall of Fame unless he gets 60%. So I think that's what Jason was alluding to there, that he needs to. If he got 11 wins, he would get the 60%, and that's why Jason thinks he might retire after this year. I think he would retire after this year if he definitely achieved what he wanted to do this year. Otherwise, we have him till the 2029 season. We're going to have Kirk till 2029. So just keep that in mind. Whether he leaves, I'm not saying he will stay the full ride, but if he has any inkling of getting out, I think they need to do a coach in waiting so that they don't lose out on recruits, people that they're talking to. Um, LeVar Woods has been, is a fan favorite to be our next head coach, and he's young enough. Would that be enough to hire him and keep him around? Would he be young enough and keep him around, and could he be successful enough to take Kirk's place so that we wouldn't miss Kirk? That we wouldn't say like we did when we forced Tom Davis out early, and then Steve Alford came in and he didn't really destroy the program. He just never really got the program where it needed to be, and I guess he was a jerk. And I think the biggest thing on him was the Pierre Pierce, how he handled the Pierre Pierce, and I think that really screwed Steve Alford up. But then you guys know what happened after that. The Licklider years. They were awful, 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 awful. Okay, Kirk, the next AD? I don't think so. He's going to be 68 in August. Okay. At some point, Kirk has got to. He's got to be at the point where he's going to want to enjoy his grandkids, be around his kids more. Um, right now, he enjoys football, and he says as long as he still enjoys football, he'll continue to coach. But I just don't see him. I think once he leaves football, he's done. I don't think he's going to be an AD. I think he's just going to retire and be spend it with his kids, his grandkids, and just enjoy life and maybe hit a few in the during the season, hit a few NFL games that some of his kids. I think one kid is still playing in the NFL. Okay. Um, Dan Gable for AD. Wow. God, he's even older. He's like 70 something, like 74 or something like that, guys. Dan Gable. But I tell you what though, he get I don't no, he gets around pretty good though for an older guy. I guess it's probably because of all his years of wrestling and how good of a shape he's in. Because, um, yeah, I guess he was at one of the baseball games they showed on TV watching his nephew play baseball. Um, so all right. Todd destroyed the program and then said it was Iowa's fault when interviewed by an Indianapolis paper. I'm curious, Gary Bartas. Tell me what he said that how he blamed Iowa for that. I'm curious. We know Alford blamed Iowa for his lack of success because he said Iowa was a football school and didn't support the basketball program, which we all know is a lie because if you remember the Raveling and Lute years, we had some pretty darn good teams. Even with Tom Davis, we had some really good teams with Tom Davis. So those years, I mean, we had some good teams and we were supportive of those teams as fans. Okay. So, Gary, I'd be happy to have you on here as a guest podcaster. Um, when Paul's ready to come back, I don't know if Paul hasn't really said he was taking a break. I wanted to go on earlier than Paul's used to going on. Um, Paul likes to go on about 2 hours later than when I used to. But I usually is. He wants to be able to wind down from work and get a bite to eat and just kind of relax with his wife and stuff before. Um, okay. Um, Jared's last question. Jared must be getting ready to get off. Okay. Any predictions for the Iowa basketball team next season? I'm not expecting much, guys. I have no expectations at this point. Because I'm sure that the big person issue is going to be an issue because we just have two bigs right now. I guess we got three bigs. I'm sorry. Riley Mulvey. I think I'm saying his name wrong. Mulvey. Um, he's got to play key. He's got to play a key role next year. I think this being was it Ben Kinkman or Kinkman or Kink or something like that coming in will be our main big guy, and Riley's going to have to come in and back him up, but he's going to have to be able to play, anywhere from 10, 15 minutes a game. And there might be some games where he's going to have to play off a lot more than that. And so I just really feel that we're going to play a lot of small ball next year. And I know that there's a lot of predictions. Patrick McCaffrey and Connor McCaffrey have a podcast, or they did do a podcast together called Teed Up, and they mentioned that Iowa was picked 14th or 15th in the Big Ten for basketball and early predictions next year, and they laughed that off and said they would be much better than that. In case you guys didn't know that Connor McCaffrey is moving, so he will no longer be part of the Teed Up podcast with his brother, but they're bringing in Peyton Sanford to do the Teed Up one, and they're changing the name, but I forgot what it was. Something about P and P on, or I don't know, something like that. But yeah, I saw another one too where they did the power rank. Somebody, I think it was from one of that guy Clout or whatever his name is. I thought I saw he did a power ranking the other day, and he had Iowa 13th. So I don't know what to expect, guys. They've had this team is always, except for a couple of seasons, this team has always done better than they were predicted to do. They've always found a way to be in the upper echelon, anywhere in the top 6 teams. They've always been in the top 16 for a long time now. They been in the NCAA tournament 4 years running that they actually had the tournament. Would be 5, I think, or maybe it's more than that. Coach knows because Coach corrected me on this. We had a discussion on it one day. So Coach correct me. Is it 6, 7, 8 years in a row? If we don't count 2020, because it wasn't a tournament, but Iowa would have easily made the tournament that year. So that's sad. So yeah, I think the Keegan's second year and the year before that, Luka Garza, year before that, I think those are the 2 years that we underachieved. We honestly, I thought we could do a little better than we did last year with only 19 wins total and losing our last 3 games, which was sad. Because I think we could have won all 3 of those and should have won all 3 of those, but I don't know what got in. I think the guys were just maybe they were tired of playing basketball, or something. I don't know. I know that as much as we hate for them to lose, they hate losing more than we do. That I know, and so do the coaches. So I don't want to say that they were just going through the motions, but I didn't care if they won or lost because I find that hard to believe because these guys like to win. Okay. Any more questions out there, guys? You guys are doing a good job of keeping them coming. Okay, so nobody's had the guts to tell me if they think in 2024 that we can make the top 2 to 4, especially the top 2 in the Big Ten football. Nobody. All you guys have done great questions and comments, but let's get that out there, guys. I want to know what you're gonna do. I'll keep going for a few more minutes and then I'll cut it out of here. I have to keep it under an hour in order to do an audio podcast on it, which shows up on Spotify usually the next day because I always have trouble with doing that, getting that audio going. But yeah, that one should be up tomorrow, the audio part on Spotify if you want to. But you can still put this in your car, hook it up to your telephone, play it on your telephone, hook it up to your car, and you're commuting to work, commuting to shopping, commuting to the hospital, whatever you want to do, just go listen. Jared, thanks for the next class. Jared, we got a pretty solid class coming in for 2024, but at the same time, I don't think a lot of them will make a difference that year. I don't think a lot of them will be the difference maker. Okay. We lose 2 and split it for road and home games. 1 loss at home, 1 loss away in 24. Okay. All right. He doesn't know. He's saying that we're going to go 1-1, 1 on the road, 1 on the at home, but he doesn't. He's not saying which games yet. Who are the possible up and coming players, big guys? Is that for basketball? Basketball? I don't. Yeah. We have that walk on. I can't think of his name. I wasn't planning on talking basketball, so I don't have that stuff in front of me. Ben Crink, he's a big guy. Riley Mulvey, he's a big guy. And then there's that other guy. That would be cool to beat USC on the road because I'll be at that game and lose to UCLA at home. Let's hope not, guys. That game should be a huge sellout. If that game against UCLA is not a sold out, let's welcome them, guys. Let's really welcome them, UCLA, and show them what Big Ten football is about. Show them what Big Ten defense. The one thing I think will get UCLA and USC in the long run is our defense. And the Big Ten as a whole plays pretty solid defense. And I don't think they're ready for that because the Pac-12 doesn't play defense. You guys know that the scores are always, in the 40s and 30s. And a lot of times a team will get out to a 2 or 3 touchdown lead and you go to bed because the games are on so late at night in the Midwest. You get up the next day to find out that the other team came back and won because there's no defense played in the Pac-12. Same with the Big 12. Neither conference likes to play defense. Jared, the up-and-coming guys in football. We did a show on that a couple of shows ago. Pac West will collapse in the near future. Yeah, they got to get some teams. Who do you guys think they'll go after? Who do you guys think they'll go after to kind of build their thing back up? Because they're going to be down to 10 teams, and they're losing two of the more marquee teams in that league. So I'm curious, you guys, any suggestions who they might go? I think okay. Let's drop Nebraska as a rivalry game and pick up PSU and start to get away from playing ISU every year, maybe every other year. Okay, that's my wife. She's trying to interrupt this thing show already. So yeah, I don't know about the ISU. That game is always tough. But do I agree we should drop it? I don't think so. I don't like playing them because I don't like losing to them. But none of us like losing to them like we did this year, and that was a stupid loss. Should have never happened. But yeah, I heard that too, that Colorado wanted to go back to the Big 12. But they got 4 teams coming in, so they're going to be 14 teams this next year. 16 teams because Texas and Oklahoma haven't left yet. Because they're bringing in 4 teams this year. Oklahoma and Texas aren't leaving until next year. Do they have just 10 teams this year? And so they would have 14 teams right now. And then they'll drop back down to 12. Okay. Iowa and Iowa should play every other year. Okay. Coach Prime Time. He's going to be fun to watch, guys. He really is. I have YouTube TV, and one of the sad things about YouTube TV is, as I noticed that they have every conference. They have the ACC, the Big 10, the SEC, and the Big 12. No, they don't have the Big 12 on there, I don't think. There's no Big 12 conference TV network. So we got the Atlantic Coast Conference, we got the Big 10, we got the SEC. But I noticed we don't have, and I live in the heart of Pac-12 country, or as somebody said earlier, Pac-West. And we don't have that channel on YouTube TV. Somebody explain to me why we don't have that conference. When I had what's really cool about the Pac-12 network is when I had it with my previous cable provider, it's cool because there was a main channel for so they can highlight a good game, but every team had their own channel. So if you wanted to go watch, like let's say if Iowa and the Big 10 had their own channel for every team, you could go like the Iowa channel, watch replays of any Iowa game you wanted to at any time you wanted to, and you still can if you have BTN Plus, but you got to pay for that. Okay. Gary says that Texas and Oklahoma start SEC this year. I'm pretty sure it's 2024. I'm pretty sure that they weren't able to get out that early because they didn't want to pay the money. We're going to Google it right now. We're going to settle it for once and for all. See if I'm right or wrong. You guys usually prove me wrong too, but I take it with a grain of salt, guys. Okay. When do Oklahoma and Texas leave the Big 12 for the SEC? $2024. Oops. 2024. So, yeah, there's a big old spotlight in the middle of that. Okay, so yeah, 2024. So I was right. I thought so. I thought there was 1 year they were going to play with the newbies, and so, yeah. I'll put it up there, but yeah. Thanks, Gary. I finally got one. I got one over you guys. You guys have always showed me that I was wrong on some of the stuff. I finally got one on you guys. Okay. Oh, Casey, welcome to the show. All right, Casey. Iowa loses to USC but beats UCLA because it's at Kenny. I'm going to agree with you on that. USC USC is going to be a tough team this year. They're going to be a top 5 team, I believe. They were last year, and I don't see them losing more than 1 or 2 games total all year this year. And guys, the Coliseum is a tough place to play. It is tough to play there. I've been to USC games at the Coliseum, and it's just like crazy hard to there because you've got that annoying band playing every time USC gets a first down, touchdown, or any big major play, a sack or something. They're playing the march song or the fight song for USC. When I last game I went there, I had that USC march song or fight song in my head for a week. I couldn't get it out of there. And that's all I heard all game long. Okay. Texas plays Bama tough. Um, yeah, they play this year, so they're getting a taste. They're getting an early season taste or early a preview of what that's going to be. What's going on with Texas guys, because they're always predicted to be right up there, and then they never really um, live up to expectations. Okay, until Coop and X ruining his Heisman campaign at home. Whose Heisman campaign are we going to rule? What name did I miss or something? Oh, so yeah, yeah. I wonder who you're talking about. Who's going to have the Heisman Trophy going there? Who's going to be the candidate coming into Kenneck that we're going to ruin it? Okay. All right, guys. I'll stay about 1 more minute or so. If you guys got any more questions, get a minute. I'll answer them all. Okay. Guys, this has been a really fruitful and fun episode to do today. I'm glad you guys did it. And said, Dean, I bet you'll be at the USC Iowa game because you're in California. Yeah, I said that, or Casey, if you were in early, I said that right off the bat. That you know, I got a friend who's a USC fan, so I told him I'd buy the tickets if he would drive us to the game because, again, like I repeated before, I don't like driving on the LA freeways anymore with a singular eye anymore. Okay, so I don't really pay attention to who the Heisman frontrunners are right now. And I know they're out there. I could Google it for us and just see who they say. Let me see. I just never really pay attention to that stuff, and they have the front runners all season long. And it's just they publish them where they're at, and I think it's just stupid. I think you just don't do it. Okay. Okay. Who are the early season Heisman Trophy candidates? Caleb Williams, Drake May. See, that's last year's. Right now, who are the front runners? That's 2 years ago. Yeah, guys. They don't want. Oh, here we go. 2023. Who's the best one to watch? Okay, they're saying Caleb Williams, the USC quarterback. He had a breakout season in 2022. So they're saying, and then Michael Penix Jr. I did hear that Michael Penix Jr. He's at Washington now. Somehow I thought he was at Florida. Boy, that guy's been around forever. Is he like playing like 7 years already? Okay. Bo Nix QB at Oregon. Jordan Travis QB at Florida State. Jaden Daniels QB at LSU. Drake May QB at North Carolina. Sam Hartman QB at Notre Dame. Carson Beck at Georgia. Quinn Evers. These are all QBs at Texas, and Kyle McCord QB at Ohio State. Here's a guy that played behind C.J. Stroud last year, and did he even play last year? And he's already a Heisman candidate for See why I think it's stupid to name Heisman candidates this early. Um, but I mean, if all these QBs are going to be Heisman candidates, that means all these teams are expected to play really well. So Washington and Oregon are going to have a battle of quarterbacks up there. Okay. All right. I think Cooper should be in preseason Heisman watch. Charles Woodson revamped. Um, yeah, but do they seriously give consideration to defensive guys? I mean, it used to be the best football player, but it's always seems like it's always gone to like a wide receiver, quarterback, usually a quarterback or a running back. Um, is, yeah. So anyway, Jared, I hope I answered your question on those. I just had to Google it because, like I said, I don't pay that much attention during the season on who the Heisman um, favorites are. I do know that they're every week they're published on the internet. Who's doing what, and and how these guys look. But you know, like let's take the year that Chuck Long came out of nowhere, and um, oh, mm, the quarterback. Can't think of his name now. The black quarterback that we had that also was who was in the running for a Heisman. Both those guys came out of nowhere and were late, and were given consideration late in the season. But if they didn't already have their favorites going on during the season, maybe those guys could have actually won and not have what I call the SEC or the South or East Coast bias going on. That it's and plus there's more media voters down there than there is in the Midwest. Um, Pretty Russell, was that our or Banks? Banks or Russell? Which one was our quarterback? But Banks, yeah, right. Thanks, Jared. Thank you for doing that. Yeah, Russell was the running back. Um, yeah, yeah. Chuck Long was originally the first closest in history, but after that, I think there have been several more closer votes. But yeah, but that's what I was thinking is those guys. That's why I'm saying those Chuck Long and Brad Banks could have easily won the Heisman if they were considered candidates from the minute they from the beginning of the season, but they just kind of like were as the season went on, they were kind of like, oh, maybe we should be watching these guys. And so I don't think they got any consideration for all the good work that they did early in the season. And so I think that's the reason why they didn't win them, but they both were in close votes. And so that's sad that, that's the reason why I just don't think it's just like coming out with the poll early in the season, starting preseason, with who are the top 25 teams and our stuff. Let's let it play out and, get a month into the conference season. That'll tell you who really are the best teams are. And, and once you've already started that preseason, it's kind of hard to knock some teams out of the top 25 to put some new ones in. Yeah. Chuck was a much beloved quarterback at Iowa. He did a lot. Him and the what do you call it? Hayden Fry, and I think at that time the Purdue coach. I'm thinking what his name was. He reminded me of a walrus. But they kind of changed the way the Big Ten were doing things at the time because both those teams spent a lot of time with the ball in the air, and Purdue had some pretty good quarterbacks during that time too. So, guys, yeah, wow, guys, we got a lot of people on the line. Yeah, we're coming up on 1 hour, so I think this is time to end it. If you got a quick question or comment, put it up right now, and before I leave. And otherwise, I think I'm going to sign out. And thank you guys for joining the show. You guys made this show a lot of fun tonight. You made it less boring than I would have made it. And I appreciate all your guys' help and corrections out there. Sometimes while I'm on here using my computer, I can't always find the correct answers for you guys. But I appreciate it. So we got in the baseball talk like I hoped we would. We did talk about the flex football schedules, so that's good. And plus, we got some other things in basketball and stuff too. guys, I appreciate you guys all being here, and I'll catch you next time. I'm gonna try to do more of these videos coming up. Probably none this weekend because my grandson will be here, but I'll probably do one early next week, sometime. I just want to get more consistently get out there, and so I'll try to let you guys know when that's coming, and we'll have more, discussion and comments going. And so I appreciate you guys watching. So I'm going to get out of here for now, and thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. Yeah, Jared, I see that right there. Iowa wrestling recruiting going strong. That is my wife again, guys. You want to see her?
No.
No. Okay.
No.
All right. Okay, I gotta get off, guys. I gotta. Thank you, guys. We'll see you later.